So me, 30-year-old female, and my husband Josh, 32-year-old male, have been married for 6 years now and have a 4-year-old daughter and 9-month-old son. My husband has a childhood friend, Amy, fake name. Amy and I are mostly civil, but she often comments on various things, especially if I am doing something. My husband is an introverted person and does not have many close friends, so I never really say anything. We hosted dinner a few days ago and invited Amy as well. They were drinking as well. And while drunk, Amy said how she could not believe Josh already has 2 kids when they all are single, even though Josh used to tell them how he never wanted to marry before 30. Things got a bit awkward, but she went on to say how I wasn't even his type and still we got married. At this point I was angry, but Josh calmed me down, saying she is just drunk. After my son started crying, so I went to feed him formula. The thing is, due to some complications, I wasn't able to produce milk for my son. When Amy saw it, she said, "If I was a mom, I would never feed my baby some formula. It's kind of crazy how you all are okay with feeding such things to your baby." I really lost it and told her to shut up and mind her own business, that this was my house, my husband, and my baby, and she is in no way eligible to talk about someone else's married life when she couldn't even keep a man in her life and is now living alone with her cats. Upon hearing all that, Amy started crying and soon left. Everybody left soon after. My husband says it was okay for me to be angry, but it was a bit harsh for me to say all that since everyone knew Amy was struggling with her mental health. I have got texts from a few of her friends cursing me and asking me to apologize to her. I have since blocked them all, and to be honest, I don't want to apologize. It wasn't the first time she said something inappropriate. It was the final straw, and I couldn't take it anymore. She is apparently in a bad mental state since she was cheated on by her fiancé of many years in the past, so I really don't know. I have started to feel bad and guilty, and maybe I was over the line. Update: I don't know how to update separately, so I'll just write it down here. Holy shoot, after I did my chores, I have been reading all your texts. To be honest, I didn't expect so many would even see my text and even share their own experiences. All those who had experienced such things. I am really sorry. Being a mother myself, I could relate so much to all your experiences. To clarify some things, even though nobody said anything at the moment, the situation did get very awkward for all. Those who were at the party later did apologize for Amy's behavior. People who sent me the nasty texts were all Amy's friends and not part of our group, so I didn't really feel like telling them anything as I am so exhausted already and blocking them seemed easier. Well, I went to my husband and told him how everything bothered me. I also told him all the other times when Amy said something passive-aggressive. She would usually say those things when we were alone, so he didn't know about it, and it was actually the first time she acted that way in front of everyone. My husband was shocked. He told me that I should have spoken sooner, and that the reason he didn't say anything was because I am a very chill person overall, but Amy's mental health was bad and she would have frequent meltdowns. He just didn't want to stir up drama and create more tension. He did apologize sincerely, and then I texted Amy apologizing for my comments, but told her about how her comment was inappropriate and she needs to apologize as well. Well, Amy just cursed me and blocked me. To this, my husband texted her telling her how she is being disrespectful and that he would be in no contact with her as well, and he blocked her as well. Soon my husband got a lot of texts saying how Amy was having a meltdown, and according to her, I am manipulating and isolating my husband from his friends over trivial matters. I nearly laughed at her assumptions. My husband is also done with her BS. He told his friends about everything and told them how he was done with her BS. This has caused the group to split. Apparently, there are others who are also done with Amy, while some still sympathize with her. For now, my husband and I are just focusing on our life. I hope Amy gets help as she needs it so others don't have to suffer from her tantrums. To all saying my husband had an affair, well, that is not true. Also, I don't think Amy liked my husband since she was one of the popular ones who was only interested in popular guys, whereas my husband was far from her type. By the comment of me not being my husband's type, well, growing up I was on the chubby side and nerdy, so not really conventionally pretty, but while dating my husband and I got interested in swimming and other activities and had a bit of a glow-up. Also, she was clearly in love with her fiancé, another popular guy from college, but, well, he turned out to be a scum. Why she didn't like me? Well, I will never know. Nor is it my problem anymore. Have a good day, people. Edit. Also, I love how my husband stood up for me. So I'll be going to treat him to dinner and some good time. Josh, I know you are reading this. My mom will look after the babies. Be prepared when you come from work. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1, not the idiot. This wasn't just Amy having a bad day. From what you say, she regularly says inappropriate, harsh things. This is the first time that you called her out on it. And then all of her flying monkeys come down on you. And even your husband says you were inappropriate? Your husband should have your back on this. He's an introvert, but does he have any sense of boundaries? Or is it only okay for Amy to be an AH and disrespect you constantly, but for you not to say anything back to her? Mental health issues are not carte blanche to be a mean AH. Comment 2. Not the idiot. There is no way I'd let anybody talk to me like that in my home. They'd be out of the door in a second. She is apparently jealous of something and can't handle alcohol. But that's not your problem. I think your husband should also put her in her place since she's his friend. She crossed the line. I'll never understand people without children giving unsolicited advice to mothers. Stop that. Now, for the update. Thank you for sticking around for this whirlwind of a week. So, the dinner fiasco with Amy was just the tip of the iceberg. After that night, things went from bad to worse. I thought blocking Amy's friends would be the end of it. But no, life had other plans. A few days later, I found out that Amy had been spreading rumors about me and Josh. She claimed that our marriage was a sham, and that Josh was only with me because I trapped him by getting pregnant. The nerve of her. I was fuming, but Josh, ever the mediator, suggested we ignore it. He said that responding would only give her the attention she craved. I agreed, reluctantly. But then, the betrayal I never saw coming happened. One of Josh's friends, let's call him Mark, who had always been a bit too friendly with me, approached me with a proposition. He said that he had feelings for me and that he knew I was unhappy with Josh. He suggested we start an affair. I was shocked and disgusted. I told him off and immediately informed Josh. Josh confronted Mark, and the fallout was massive. It turned out Mark had been the one encouraging Amy's behavior, feeding her information about our personal life. He had been playing both sides, pretending to be Josh's friend while trying to sabotage our marriage. Josh was heartbroken. They had been friends since high school. He cut Mark off, and several of their mutual friends followed suit after learning about Mark's betrayal. In the midst of all this, our daughter fell ill. It was nothing serious, just a flu, but it was the last thing we needed. I was running on fumes, taking care of her and our son, dealing with the drama, and trying to support Josh. It was a tough week, but we pulled through. Our daughter recovered quickly, thank goodness. The aftermath of Mark's betrayal was still unfolding. Some of Josh's friends sided with Mark, believing his lies that Josh was overreacting. It caused a rift in their group, and Josh was left feeling isolated. But he had me, and I had him, and we both knew that was all that mattered. Then, as if we hadn't had enough drama, Amy showed up at our doorstep, unannounced and uninvited. She was in tears, apologizing for everything. She said she had been in a dark place and took it out on us. She admitted that Mark had been manipulating her, using her vulnerability to drive a wedge between us for his own gain. Josh and I were wary, but we listened. Amy's breakdown was a wake-up call for her. She realized she needed help and promised to seek therapy. We didn't fully forgive her, but we appreciated her taking responsibility for her actions. It was a small step toward healing the wounds she had caused. As for Mark, he tried to reach out to Josh to apologize, but Josh wasn't having any of it. He told Mark that he had crossed a line that couldn't be uncrossed. Mark had shown his true colors, and there was no going back from that. Some of Josh's friends who had initially sided with Mark began to see the truth and reached out to Josh to make amends. Through all this, I learned a valuable lesson about standing up for myself and my family. I had let Amy walk all over me for too long, afraid of causing trouble for Josh. But when push came to shove, I found my voice. I wasn't going to let anyone mess with my family again. And Josh, he's been my rock. He's shown me what it means to have someone's back, no matter what. We've grown closer through this ordeal, our bond strengthened by the trials we've faced together. So, here we are, picking up the pieces and moving forward. Life threw us some curveballs, but we handled them. We're focusing on our family, our love, and the future we're building together. And as for Amy and Mark, well, they're just footnotes in our story now. Thank you for reading about this roller coaster of a week. My husband's best friend kept luring him away when I needed help with our newborn. So I put my foot down and forced a move that saved our marriage and made him step up as a father. I will try to make it short. I am on postpartum leave. We have a 2-month-old son. We live right next door to my husband's best friend. We moved in here a bit over a month ago. Since moving in, this dude is calling my husband multiple times a day to go off somewhere with him, store, another buddy's house, downstairs to smoke, have a fire, etc. It has caused so many fights already, and I am so over it. I have literally brought it up at least 25 times, and I told him not even a week ago that I am moving whether he comes with me or not, because I did not sign up to play third wheel to a grown-ass man who also has a wife at home with a baby. My husband apologized, as usual, and actively did get better about it. Like he stopped leaving with him and only hung out with him once a day for maybe a half hour, and I appreciated that, and all has been good. But on to the issue. He has called off work for the past 2 days because I have infection 19 and need help taking care of the baby, because I am literally a walking shoot show right now. I am in so much body pain and my head is screaming at me. So he literally called off work, telling his boss I had infection 19 and he needed to help me, and then took off with his buddy not even a half hour later, at 12:30 this afternoon, and has been gone since. They were supposedly only going to the store, 45 minutes away. It has been 5 hours. When I texted him about it, the only thing he said was, "I know, babe, I'm sorry." So I texted back and said, "The frick you are, stay at your buddy's house tonight. He obviously needs you to hold it for him." He says I am an AH because I expected to be home already, but he's taking his sweet butt time. It's his vehicle. I am kinda on his schedule. So I texted back asking where they were, and he told me that they stopped off at one of this guy's friends' houses, and apparently he's drinking. Not my husband, supposedly. I have my doubts. I told him that he either ends the friendship or I file for divorce, because this has been an ongoing, consistent issue, and I am no longer willing to deal with it. Now he's calling me manipulative and controlling, saying I'm making him choose between me and his son, or him having any sort of social life, because he says I flip out every time he tries to do anything I do. He's gone out partying at least 6 times since I gave birth 2 months ago when... Not kidding. He hadn't partied in 4 years prior to this. Am I the idiot? ETA. I've brought up moving several times because he wasn't like this before we moved into this place, which is owned by the buddy in the post. He will agree to move and start house searching, and then the very next day he will be talking about all the repairs he wants to make to this place as a favor to his buddy for helping us out. So basically, he wants to stay here and only told me he would be willing to move in that moment to get me to stop talking about it. The only place I can go to is my mother's, and he has made it very clear that if I take our child there, he will take the baby from me. He says it's an unsafe and not clean home because her kitchen is in complete repair currently, bad floor due to underlying water damage, and has absolutely no access. My mom washes her dishes in the bathtub while it's being renovated and cooks on the outdoor grill. The renovations have been taking longer than expected due to the snowstorms we have gotten. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. This individual called out of work to stay and help you, but left in a vehicle with someone else for no important or urgent reason. They should have kept themselves at home, as they said they were going to. I wouldn't be surprised to find out they're off doing drugs. It sounds like junkie behavior. Comment 2. Do you have anywhere you can go? It sounds like you just need to leave him. If he follows and wants to be part of your family, great. If he wants to stay and play circle jerk with his buddy, then you have one less thing to worry about. Edited to add, not the idiot. Now, for the update. Thanks for sticking around for the update. So, things have been pretty wild since I last talked about what's been going on. Remember how I said I was done playing third wheel to my husband's best friend? Well, it got worse. After the whole infection 19 situation, where my husband ditched me to hang out with his buddy, I thought we had hit rock bottom. But nope, there was more. Just when I thought my husband was starting to get his priorities straight, his friend, let's call him Mr. Clingy, got himself into some serious trouble. He got caught up in a gambling debt, and guess who he turned to for help? Yep, my husband. And my husband, being the loyal but clueless guy he is, actually considered bailing him out. We're talking about a huge sum of money here, money that we had saved for our baby's future. I found out about it when I overheard a phone call. My husband was in the other room whispering, but I heard enough to confront him. He tried to play it off, saying he was just trying to help a friend in need, but I wasn't having any of it. I told him if he gave Mr. Clingy that money, he might as well throw our marriage out the window too. Meanwhile, my mom's place was slowly getting back in shape. The kitchen was still a mess, but she managed to get a small electric stove and a makeshift sink set up. It wasn't ideal, but it was progress. And progress was something I was desperately craving in my own life. Back to my husband. After our big blowout over the gambling debt, he started to pull away from Mr. Clingy. It was like he finally saw the light. He even started to help more with the baby, doing night feeds and diaper changes without me having to ask. It felt like a small victory. But then Mr. Clingy's wife came knocking on our door. She was in tears, holding their own baby, telling me how her husband had disappeared for days and she was worried sick. She didn't know about the gambling debt, and I didn't have the heart to tell her. My husband was out at the time, probably trying to track down Mr. Clingy, and I was left comforting a woman whose life was falling apart because of the same man who was causing chaos in mine. It was in that moment, holding her baby and trying to soothe her, that I realized how much this whole situation was affecting not just me, but other families too. I felt a mix of anger and pity, and I knew something had to change. When my husband came back, he had news. Mr. Clingy had been found, passed out in some motel with not a penny to his name. My husband hadn't given him the money, thank goodness. But the reality of his friend's situation seemed to hit him hard. He spent the next few days in a kind of daze, barely speaking, just going through the motions. I used that time to think about what I wanted for our future. I didn't want to live next door to this chaos anymore. I didn't want my son growing up thinking this was normal. So, I started looking for new places to live, on my own. I found a small apartment not too far from my mom's, within our budget, and with a little playground nearby. When I told my husband, he didn't fight it. He didn't argue or make excuses. He just nodded and said, "Okay." It was like he had given up on trying to fix things with Mr. Clingy and realized that our family needed to come first. We moved out last week. It's been tough, adjusting to a new place and dealing with the fallout. But for the first time in a long time, I feel like we're on the right track. My husband has been more present, more involved. He's even started looking for a new job, something with better hours so he can spend more time with us. As for Mr. Clingy, I heard he's getting help for his gambling problem. His wife is staying with her parents for now. I hope they get the fresh start they need too. Thanks for reading. My wife's flirting with a coworker gets our kids bullied and her fired, so I teach her a lesson about loyalty and make her wish she never crossed the line. My wife, Amber, has always had trouble with her confidence and making friends. As much as I try to encourage her to get out, she was just never comfortable getting too close to anyone. I was actually pretty excited when she met Bill, 45 years old, at work. She came home happy, telling me she actually made a friend and that she hopes she doesn't scare this one off. I reassured her that she's awesome and has nothing to worry about. Where things took a turn was just a few days ago when I saw a text thread between them that was extremely flirty. He would say things like, "I really like you. I hope to be able to be more than friends one day." And she had mixed responses, from just a simple thank you to things like, "We will just have to see when one day comes." How I stumbled across these messages was when I couldn't find the remote. I saw her phone on the coffee table and knew it had the remote app. I grabbed it, unlocked it, and found her messages open to someone named Stacy. I didn't know Stacy, so out of curiosity I took a look, thinking she made another work friend. But I found the flirting and the name change instead. I confronted her after the kids went to sleep. She kept insisting that it was innocent, and the name change was only because she knew I'd be upset and freak out. I expressed to her I can understand how outside compliments can make someone feel good, but there was a line that was crossed when, no matter how innocent it was, she lied and did what I considered cheating. I asked her if she had told Billy that she was married, and she admitted she hadn't, but would clear things up the following morning at work. That evening, I asked her if she told Bill. She said she did, and that the flirting was over. But the next day, she was reclusive and on her phone a lot. I checked our carrier's log because I had a feeling the whole truth wasn't being told, and saw Bill was the only person she was talking to. So I got his number from the log and called him. I asked him if he knew Amber was married, and he was clueless and polite. He said he isn't a homewrecker and that he would cut off communications, that it never went beyond text, etc. Honestly, pretty good guy, all things considered. Well, this sent my wife over the edge, and she is now on her way to her parents' place to stay the night, saying that I was controlling for not allowing her to have a male friend. I told her I was fine with it until she changed his name in her phone and started flirting. That it was lying and cheating at that point. So Reddit, was I in the wrong? Edit. No rings are allowed on the job due to safety rules. Didn't think that would be an issue when she started a few months back. Edit 2. I would typically agree she would be at the other dude's house in a post like this, but we have Life 360, and I saw her arrive at her parents' place. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1, not the idiot. She knew what she was doing was wrong and had crossed the line. Trying to hide what was going on by changing the contact name and not bothering to tell the dude she was married is proof positive. She was making a concerted effort to get closer to him while hiding it. The whole "you're being controlling" or "you're being manipulative" is in itself many times used while trying to control the narrative. So yeah, it was probably emotional cheating, so don't go crawling back. Comment 2. Not the idiot. That woman was preparing to cheat. Now she's attempting to emotionally guilt and manipulate you into feeling like the bad guy to avoid facing that very glaring fact. She's going to hide behind, "It was just some texts," and "It was just a friend" to her dying goddamn day and hope you're an idiot. You're not. She had an emotional affair, maybe just a baby one, but she was fully prepared to take it further. If cheating is a deal breaker for you, this deal has done broke. Now for the update. Thanks for all your comments on my last post. It's been a wild 3 months since then. After Amber came back from her parents, things seemed to calm down. She apologized for the texts and promised to keep things professional with Bill. I wanted to believe her, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. I decided to give her the benefit of the doubt, though. Big mistake. A few weeks later, I was at work when I got a call from the school. Our son had been in a fight. I rushed over there, and it turns out he was defending his sister from some bully. The principal was understanding, but it was clear that both kids were shaken up. I took them home early, and that's when I found out why they were targeted. Rumors had spread about their mom having an affair with a coworker. I was furious. How could this have spilled into our kids' lives? I confronted Amber when she got home, and she broke down, admitting that she never stopped talking to Bill. She said it was just emotional, that she felt understood by him. I felt betrayed all over again. The next day, I took a personal day to spend with the kids, trying to reassure them and mend the emotional damage. Meanwhile, Amber was supposedly at work, sorting things out. That evening, she came home with a story that knocked the wind out of me. Bill's wife had found out about their friendship and showed up at Amber's workplace, causing a scene. Amber was suspended pending an investigation. I was at a loss. Our financial stability was now in jeopardy, our kids were being bullied, and my trust in Amber was shattered. I should have left, but I couldn't. I was too worried about the kids and what a split would do to them. Amber's suspension turned into termination. She was devastated, but I couldn't muster much sympathy. I found myself working longer hours to make up for the lost income, while Amber wallowed at home. She kept saying she wanted to make things right, but I didn't know what that would take. Then, as if we hadn't had enough, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. It was Bill. He was apologetic, said he didn't know Amber was married, and that his wife had left him. He was calling to tell me that Amber had been to their house. I felt like I was in a bad dream. I confronted Amber again, and she confessed that she had gone to see Bill to apologize and to end things in person. She claimed it was closure. I didn't know what to believe anymore. The aftermath was messy. Bill's wife reached out to me, and we had a long talk. She was just as blindsided as I was, and we both agreed that our spouses' actions were inexcusable. We decided to keep in touch, supporting each other through the mess. Amber started looking for a new job, but her reputation had taken a hit. She was struggling, and I found myself feeling sorry for her despite everything. I helped her with her resume and even drove her to a couple of interviews. I guess I was still holding on to the hope that we could fix our family. Just when things seemed like they couldn't get any worse, Amber's car broke down. I had to leave work to pick her up from an interview. When I got there, I saw her laughing with some guy in the parking lot. It was like a punch to the gut. She said he was just being friendly, but I couldn't take another friendship turning into something more. Now I'm just trying to keep everything together for the kids. They're my priority. Amber is still here, still trying to make amends, but I'm just going through the motions. I know I should leave, but I can't. Not yet. I'm stuck in this cycle, hoping for a change that might never come. Thanks for reading. If you liked this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.